All right, let's dive in. We're going way back, thousands of years, to a moment, a deathbed scene that honestly changed everything. It wasn't just about one man's life ending, it was about the future of nations being written. We're talking about the final, powerful, prophetic words of the patriarch Jacob. And let me tell you, these words didn't just fade away, they echoed through history. I mean, just think about that for a second. What if your very last words could literally map out the future for generations to come, for whole nations? That's the wild scenario we're looking at here in the last pages of Genesis. This is so much more than a father saying his goodbyes. This is a prophet on his deathbed, laying out the destiny of his children. So, before Jacob even gets to the prophecies for all his sons, he has this one really important, absolutely non-negotiable request for Joseph, his most powerful son. And what he asks for? Well, it tells you everything you need to know about his faith. At first glance, you might think, okay, he just wants to be buried with his family. Simple nostalgia, right? But no, it's way, way deeper than that. You gotta remember, Jacob spent his last years living in style in Egypt. Egypt was the superpower of the day, but his heart, his hope, it wasn't in Egypt. It was back in the promised land, a place his family didn't even fully own yet. So this request, it was a massive final statement of faith. This is a perfect picture of what we could call covenantal faith. Basically, it's believing in a promise you can't see yet and acting like it's already a done deal. He died knowing his descendants would get the land of Canaan, even though it was just a far-off promise at the time. Demanding to be buried there, it was like he was planting a flag, you know? He was saying God's promise is more real to me than this entire powerful Egyptian empire I'm living in. Okay, so this whole theme of God's plan trumping human tradition, it gets even more dramatic when Jacob starts to give out his blessings. First up are Joseph's two sons. And let me tell you, things get interesting, fast. They do not go according to plan. So Joseph, he's a guy who likes order, he respects tradition. He brings his sons in and sets it all up perfectly. Manasseh, the older one, he puts him right by Jacob's right hand. That's the VIP spot for the main blessing. Ephraim, the younger, goes to the left. It's all by the book, exactly how it's supposed to be done. Simple, right? What could possibly go wrong? And then, this happens. With just one move, one deliberate action, Jacob completely flips the script. He crosses his hands. And you have to picture this. His eyesight is pretty much gone. He can barely see. But his spiritual vision? It's 20/20. He intentionally puts his right hand on Ephraim, the younger son. Joseph sees this and freaks out a little. He thinks, oh no, my dad's old, he's confused, he's getting it wrong. But Jacob's reply is so calm, so firm. I know, my son. I know. He wasn't making a mistake. Not at all. He knew exactly what he was doing. He was operating on a different level, declaring a future that just completely defied human logic. He says, yeah, Manasseh will be great, for sure, but his younger brother, Ephraim, he's going to be even greater. I mean, talk about a plot twist. It's a total reversal. See, this wasn't some random one-time thing. If you know these stories, you'll see this as a pattern, a theme woven all through the narrative. God constantly picks the unexpected one, the younger brother, the underdog. Think about it. Isaac over Ishmael, Jacob himself over his brother Esau, and now Ephraim over Manasseh. It's this incredible statement that God's choices aren't limited by our human rules, like who was born first. And this theme of divine shakeups, oh, it's just getting started. It doesn't end with Joseph's boys. Next, Jacob calls all 12 of his own sons to his bedside, and the prophecies he lays out for them are just as mind-blowing, especially when it comes to who you'd expect to get the top spot, the firstborn, and who actually does. And this really lays it out in black and white. You've got Reuben, son number 1, the firstborn. His prophecy, unstable as water. Ouch. That's a direct hit on his character, and because of it, he loses that top spot that should have been his by birthright. But then you have Judah, the 4th son, and his prophecy is all about the scepter, which is just a clear-as-day symbol for kingship. It shows that leadership here isn't about birth order, it's about a destiny laid out by God. So, okay, these are some dramatic family moments. But what's the big picture? What's the lasting legacy of these deathbed words? Because these weren't just predictions about family drama, they were history-shaping prophecies that would play out for thousands of years. And a couple of these blessings really stand out, painting these two powerful but very different futures. For Judah, it's all about the royal line. He gets the promise of kingship, a dynasty that would eventually lead to the Messiah, the Lion of the tribe of Judah. Then you have Joseph. His blessing is all about abundance, this picture of a fruitful bough whose branches run over the wall. It's this beautiful image of a blessing so huge it can't be contained by borders, hinting that this hope would eventually spill out to the rest of the world. So when you boil it all down, this wasn't just a dad wishing his kids well, you know? Jacob was speaking as a prophet, inspired by God, talking about what was going to happen in the last days. These words had the full weight of heaven behind them. Centuries later, the Apostle Paul wrote something that just perfectly nails the principle we see here with Jacob. It reminds us that when God makes a promise or gives a calling, he doesn't take it back. He doesn't change his mind. What Jacob spoke on his deathbed was a window into that unchanging, unshakable plan of God. And that brings us right back to where we started, leaving us with a really powerful question to think about. This whole incredible saga kicks off with one man's act of faith, Jacob insisting on being buried in a land he didn't own, all because of a promise he hadn't seen come true yet. So it makes you wonder, right? What are the unseen promises we're banking on? And maybe even more important, how is that belief changing the way we actually live our lives, right here, right now?